Okay, appreciate everyone's patience. The new series interest poll is good to go, so if you'd rather just jump right into it than listen to what I have to say on the matter, just follow the link in the description. It'll take you there, and you can take care of business as you see fit. There are a lot of options this time, but just like the last couple of times, it's a checkbox system, so please vote for any that you have any interest in seeing on the channel at any point. I usually will be referring to these polls for a good while after I've issued them. I keep referring back to those results when I go for new series. Basically, any series that I had interest in and that anyone mentioned any interest toward, I have put on the list. So yeah, it's very long this time. As such, I'm going to kind of go through and give you a real quick introduction to what each one is. I'm going to make it real fast because, again, these are all, or mostly, blind runs that we're talking about, so I don't want that much information about what they involve. But before we get into that, I'll just let you know it's going to go for about a week. So next Monday, which I believe is August 3rd, the evening of August 3rd, I will close down the poll. I will figure out what results we got, and then I'll choose the next two series I'm going to do and let you know what they are, and then start recording them. So expect regular uploads to start again on August 10th. Sorry about the delay, but I should have done this a while ago, and I just did not have the bandwidth for it. Now then, let's get into it. What do we got this time? We got Dark Souls 3 first off, which is Dark Souls, which is, if you're not familiar with Dark Souls, it's very dark and also very Souls. No, it involves a lot of dying and learning to get better at what you're doing so that you can win. And it has a huge, lush plot that it's not going to tell you any of unless you dig for it. So yeah, I've played I haven't played a Dark Souls on the channel before, but I played Bloodborne, which is by the same people. It's like that, but instead of Victorian, it's more medieval, and some people think it's the best one in the series, Dark Souls series, that is. Anyway, eager to try it. Have not let myself watch anybody else play it for years, expecting that I would have it on the channel someday. That's Dark Souls 3. Next up, Sekiro. That's by the same people again, From Software. This time, it's the same sort of idea, except set in feudal Japan, as I understand it. Supposedly, the control system is a little different, has to do more with parrying and whatnot, kind of like Bloodborne, but not exactly. Again, I don't really know what's going on, but it's well-reviewed and hard. That's what it's supposed to be. Both of those last two ones are hard. That's the main thing. Next up, we have A Hat in Time, which is, it was basically, I think it was done as a Kickstarter originally, but it's supposed to be like kind of a love letter to the 3D platformers of the Nintendo 64 era, but of course it has better graphics than that because it was made now. Supposed to have a very good sense of humor, supposed to be a lot of fun, probably not as long of a game as far as I know. Yeah, so if you enjoy that sort of thing, might want to check it out. Next up is Dead Cells. Alright, so Dead Cells is apparently like a roguelite, set in a castle that the layout shifts a lot. I'm guessing you die a lot, because it's supposed to be kind of high difficulty, randomized 2D platforming thing. I've heard a lot of really good things about it. Dead Cells. Next up is Outer Wilds, which I don't know a great deal about, aside from that it's supposed to have been a lot of people touted it as being the best game that came out last year, and I know it involves exploring things, but you have like a 20-minute time limit. I don't know much beyond that, aside from that it's supposed to be very good. There you go. I'm basically just going down the list, by the way, the list that's on the poll. Sultan Sanctuary is next. Sultan Sanctuary is basically a 2D platformer that is heavily inspired by Dark Souls. So again, we're talking difficult platformer type of situation. It's supposed to be very good. I don't know much beyond that. Next up is Fury, which basically is, as far as I can tell, an action-based, like a shoot-'em-up type of game. It's supposed to have a very good soundtrack, and I think the encounters are all supposed to be like various boss fights. Kind of like, well, no, I'm drawing, my brain makes the connection to Shadow of the Colossus. I'm guessing it has nothing to do with that, but it's supposed to be, yeah, shoot-'em-up, high difficulty boss fights. That's what I know. I could be entirely wrong on that, by the way. Next up is Lisa the Painful. Lisa the Painful I've heard compared to Earthbound in certain aspects, in that it is a side-scroller and it is quirky and the graphics are sort of similar in that regard. It describes itself as being a game about survival, sacrifice, and perverts. So it could get very uncomfortable. I hear it's supposed to be quite dark. Yes, I hear it's supposed to be quite dark, but interesting, but dark. So Next up is Persona 5 Royal, which is the most recent release of Persona 5. I have played Persona 3, which I'm guessing will have certain similarities. Basically, that game was about you had access to this sort of other world that only a few people could enter it, and you gained strength based on the social links that you generated with other people around your town or your school or that sort of thing, and it was very, very long. I hear Persona 5 is supposed to also be very long, but also very good. So, yeah. I'm interested, but we'd be there a while. Just bear that in mind. Next is The Messenger, which, from just the appearance of it, it kind of looks like what is it? Ninja Gaiden back on the NES. It kind of has that sort of a graphical feel. I think it's supposed to evoke that. It's a platformer. It's supposed to be very difficult. You may notice the theme in the games that I suggest for this channel. It's a difficult platformer with supposed to be a very good sense of humor and well-designed gameplay. I'm interested. Next is the Talos Principle, which is a puzzle game. It's I know that I started playing it back in 2016, and I didn't get very far at all. I seem to recall feeling like it was too smart for me, but I, have worked on puzzle games since then. I might do better. I'd be interested in trying it again if people are interested in seeing it, but I don't know much beyond that it is a difficult puzzle game that I remember getting stuck on. Next, I've got Under Hero on here. That's one that was recommended to me by one of you. Thank you. I had never heard of it before it was recommended to me. It's supposed to be a game where it's like a standard fantasy RPG setup, except that the chosen hero messed up or failed or whatever, and now, like, the Demon Lord has an underling who has taken the hero's place. I don't know exactly how it works. It's supposed to be, what do we have? Timing-based combat. I don't know if that means like rhythm-based or if that means kind of like Mario RPG or Paper Mario where there's like timing to how you do commands. Could be, not sure. Anyway, it's supposed to be quite good. Same person recommended Bug Fables, the Everlasting Sapling. Basically what I know is that it's a colorful looking RPG where y'all is bugs. That's about all I know. It's supposed to be quite good. Again, most of these games are supposed to be quite good. I don't know why I keep saying that, but sometimes that's all I know. Next, we have Hive Swap. Now, Hive Swap is a game that was based on the webcomic Homestuck, which is famously quite an undertaking to read. It is very, very long and very convoluted and has a lot of time travel and whatnot. Now, hopefully, you don't need to understand most of that to deal with Hive Swap, because I don't remember most of it. But it's supposed to be pretty good. What kind of game does it tout itself as? It's an adventure game. Okay, so it's an adventure game set in the same universe as Homestuck, and it's supposed to be pretty good, so got it on the list. Next on here we got Ghost of Tsushima, which I don't, again, know very much about, but it's you're supposed to be a samurai in Japan when the first Mongol invasion happens. It's like a third-person action-adventure thing. I've got some stealth elements. Well, I don't really know. It looks really interesting. It's very, very pretty. I'll give you that. And it came out like a week and a half ago, something like that. Anyway, it's on the list because I want to play it. I want to play all these. That's why they're on the list. Next up is Blasphemous. Blasphemous, we're back to kind of the Dark Souls-ish platformers, like high difficulty two-dimensional platformers. Has kind of a gothic feel to it. And as the name suggests, there's a religious theme, but I don't know much of anything about it aside from that initially it got some mixed reviews, but it's supposed to be pretty solid, and it was recommended to me. So, Blasphemous, you wear a mask that's filled with blood. That much I know. That much I do know. Like, your main character wears a mask filled with blood. I've seen the little cutscene where he puts it on the blood. So yeah. I've got The Secret of Monkey Island on this list. Now, technically, I did watch somebody play The Secret of Monkey Island, but it was years ago. So basically, all I remember is that there's a sequence when you go around. Okay. In case you don't know what it is, it's an old adventure game from like 1990, something like that. Pixel-based graphics. You play a very unlikely hero, and it's a text-based adventure game. I do know there's a sequence when you wander around and you do sword fighting, but the sword fighting is based on like wordplay and quips and whatnot, so you have to use the right comebacks to outsmart people verbally, to be able to beat them in fencing. I don't know. That's as much as I remember from it. It's yeah. Much like a lot of the LucasArts games from that period of time. I think that's LucasArts. I think that's LucasArts. A lot of those games are known for being extremely well done and clever, and this is no exception. This is one of the most famous ones, and I've never actually played it, so there it is. If you want to see it, I'm interested. Yakuza Zero is the next one on the list. That's one, again, I had recommended to me. It's a more serious plot. You play I assume he's a member of the Yakuza. He might be an ex-member of the Yakuza. But, you know, it's set in Japan. It's got a serious plot, but with some comedic notes to it. Robust combat system, I think. It's a whole series, but Yakuza 0 is supposed to be one of the better ones of it. That's another one where if we do that, we'll probably be here a while. It's a big game. Next up, I got the Pedestrian. Here, just a second on that one. Right, the Pedestrian, okay, it's a puzzle game, kind of a 2D platforming puzzle game. You, traveled through the public sign system as the bathroom symbol. So that's a promising start. It's supposed to be pretty clever and difficult puzzles, you know, that sort of thing. It was recommended to me when I got done with The Witness, so bear that in mind. It's supposed to be quite good. Again, don't know why I keep saying that. And then finally we got The Outer Worlds on here. That's one that I bought it as a whim. It's not to be confused with The Outer Wilds, which is the one I just talked about earlier. This one is like a, what's the deal here? Hang on. Right, so you were on a colonist ship. You come out of cryogenic sleep decades later than expected, and you find yourself in a colony that's on the verge of being destroyed on the furthest reaches of space. So it seems like it's kind of like a Wild West space opera thing. It's supposed to be quite good. It's another one of these ones that was touted as being one of the best games that came out last year, which is confusing, given that the other one is Outer Wilds, but this one's Outer Worlds. Don't get them confused. They're not the same game. There you go. Man, that's a lot of them. I hope I can edit that down into something that's mildly digestible. But yes, now that you have an acquaintance with all the games that are on the list, please go visit the link that is here. Is it here? It seems like it's probably here. It's also in the description. It'll be, again, be open for a week up until next month, Monday, not next month, next Monday. It is technically next month as well. August 3rd. August 3rd, the poll will close. And either that day or August 4th, I will tell you what's coming next. And we'll get back to uploads on August 10th. Thanks for your patience. I will see you soon.